Hey guys, it is me, Darcy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to what is clearly not a podcast because I'm here by myself. Do not worry, Kris has yet to shuffle off this mortal coil, but that is always still an option. So, we're keeping that one up the sleeve just in case. Guys, Kris is away right now, so instead of the usual podcast where you get me and him talking rubbish for about a time, you get me talking rubbish for about a much shorter time. We're going to get started with a little bit of channel news like we always do. So guys, this week we had Dave the Diver come out, as well as a new one called Keeper. Now, starting with Dave the Diver, guys, honestly, we played a bit of this on the channel back in the past, me and Kris. I enjoyed the game a lot, and then as I often do, I moved right along, like just jumping to the next game because life is short and there's a lot of video games out there that I want to play, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do that if I play everything. But I decided that it would be nice to go back and play some more of it because I honestly have not played any of it outside of the channel. So we went back and we had a solo of that, and I got to dive. I got to well, like right at the beginning, I deal with some pirates who like captured a dolphin and then just gave up. Like they shot me and then they were just like, "Oh well, okay. I guess we're going about our own business now." And I was like, "You guys are the worst pirates ever." If I was a pirate, I would hope that like me and my crew would have a little bit of stick-to-itiveness. And if we're gonna catch a dolphin, a rare pink dolphin, that we'd attempt more than like one very, very lazy attempt and then be like, "Oh, well, no, we're giving up now." Then the dolphins gave me gold, which doesn't make much sense because, how did they carry it? Dolphins don't have pockets. But yeah, no, so going back to Dave the Diver, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It is honestly a very chill, relaxing game. The background does give me slight, anxiety and dread because I have a very realistic and reasonable fear of deep water. I think everyone should, and anything that reminds me of deep water, it kind of triggers that a little bit. But yeah, Dave the Diver, I'm happy to be back in it, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more out there so you guys can get my personal take on that game. Yeah. The next one that came out this week was Keeper. Keeper is a Double Fine game. They're the guys that made Psychonauts. I enjoy Psychonauts. It's a fun game. And in this game, you get to play as a lighthouse. So I thought I'd give it a go and see what it's like. And let me tell you, it's confusing. Very, very artsy. Very artsy. And I'm okay with that because, I like creative, artsy things. Doesn't mean that it doesn't confuse me. And I'm not gonna lie when I say that this is the first game where I've played a building, and that's also a little bit odd. It's not bad, it's just odd. I really like it. I want to play more of it. I hope you guys enjoy it and want to see more of it because, in all honesty, yeah, I can definitely see trying to get to the end of this game. If for nothing else than trying to have some of the stuff make sense, that would be nice. I do like it when things do make sense, and it's a weird game. It's a weird game, and you get the power of blinding people, which I think is fucking great. If we can't blind people, why are we here for? But yeah, so Keeper, check that one out, and yeah, let me know what you think. Hopefully there'll be some more of it in the future. Obviously there's a whole bunch of other games that I'm working on. I talked about it last week, but Indiana Jones, I have to do some stuff on because I kind of feel like the collectathon has bogged me down a little bit, so maybe I'm going to do a little bit of that off camera. Maybe not, who really knows at this point. Moving on to Friday, guys. So the podcast, or well, not a podcast, came out today. If you're watching this, thank you. If you're not, well then I'm not even really interacting with you, so I don't know where I'm going with that. And then obviously on Saturday we have, what do we have? Minecraft. I remember. I remember. Guys, Minecraft. The next episode of mine and Kris' Sky Factory is coming out. Yes, we are switching mainly to Sky Factory for at least a little while. Obviously, there'll be reasons to go back to vanilla Minecraft, and if we have any kind of thoughts or want to do something, usually it's me who comes up with the ideas and not Kris. But if I come up with anything that I want to do that requires us to go to vanilla Minecraft, then we'll be back in vanilla Minecraft. But at the moment, we're kind of sticking to Sky Factory because, one, we have clear goals that we want to achieve in it, and two, it's gonna take a lot of work to get everything up and running. Yeah. I think the next episode of Sky Factory will actually be a solo build episode, which I didn't think I'd be doing, but it turns out that that might actually be necessary. But tomorrow's episode is me and Kris continuing on from where we left off 2 weeks ago. So tune into that one. It should be good fun. Other than that, the shorts, they're still coming out. I'm still working on them. You know, that's kind of what I do. And the subscriber count is at 344, I believe, last time I checked. So yeah, it looks like that's finally stabilized. For a little bit there, it was kind of playing jump rope with itself, and yeah, every like 2 minutes it was changing, and not small changes. It'd be like up by 4, down by 6, or something like that. So it looks like we've finally stabled out, and yeah, hopefully we can keep pushing that forwards, and you know, hopefully make it to that the next goal, which is 500 subscribers. Yeah, I think that just about sums up channel news, guys. So feeling pretty good about all of that. You know, and that's about all there really is. Honestly, I don't usually. Yeah, honestly, I usually just kind of wrap up after channel news, but there's been some stuff happening that I thought was kind of fun, and that I wanted to talk about. So, yeah, we will talk. I'll just quickly give you guys a little bit of my opinion and breakdown on some topics in gaming that have picked up my interest over the last couple of days, and yeah, and then I guess we'll call it. So I think one of the best things at the moment is Highguard. I believe it's called Highguard, and honestly, yeah, another one of these games that everyone's like, oh, it's just people on the internet hating, oh, blah blah blah, bad people on the internet, and then the game came out and it's nothing special, and really, you know, just a bit of a disappointment, really. And while that's never a good thing, like we don't want bad video games, it really does show a level of disconnect between the people making video games and the people who are supposed to be buying those video games, which, you know, like, I can't understand how anyone blames the players for not wanting bad games. It's like, I understand that they're made by many people who put a lot of effort, even if it doesn't seem like it, into making a product, but you've sometimes just got to look at who you're making that product for, and I don't think they guys who were making this ever did. Like, they kept it secret for so long and didn't really, you know, talk about it or do anything, and they made a game that, whilst I'm sure has some fans and there are elements to like in it, I don't think there's ever been a video game that doesn't have likable elements in it. There just wasn't a market for this game. Like, I think the market's actually turning against games like this. That's a really big one. Obviously, I've been reading up about other stuff. There's all the crap happening with Steam, and you know, just general weirdness, really. But I think Highguard was kind of the big one because, it got its announcement at the Games Award last year, which really wasn't that long ago, and kind of came out like a wet fart, if I'm being honest. And again, like, I don't ever kind of want to sit there and be like, oh, you shouldn't make this video game, because we never know if it's going to be a good game or a bad game until it's out. But if you're making a game, if you're putting in the effort, you really got to listen to the people and look at the trends and see what people are turning against. Like, God, all you got to do is look at Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Like, that people turn against that so quickly because it was rubbish. And as shocking as that may have seemed at the time, I don't think it was, because people have been saying how unhappy they are with Call of Duty for several years now, and the people who make it just didn't listen and kept doing what they were doing, and we ended up with what we got and what it did. So yeah, I think it's funny because these people make a video game that no one's really after, that no one really wants, and then they complain because the people don't spend their money, their hard-earned money, to buy it. And like, yes, you've worked hard on this game, and you deserve to be proud that you achieved something, but it doesn't mean that we have to buy it. And it doesn't mean that we need to... It doesn't mean that we need to care. Honestly, that's the thing. Like, I've said it before, I've spent a lot of time in the creative kind of region. I went to university for architecture. That's as creative as you can be in the world of construction. And it's like, just because you do something doesn't mean that everyone needs to bow down and clap and, take it. And I think that's something that a lot of these people in the video game industry, especially the video game media, need to understand, is just because someone made something doesn't make it good, and doesn't mean that everyone else needs to care or even give it the time of day. If you want to make something good and have everyone come to it, then it's your job to provide what people want, not to complain when people don't want what you've given them. And on the other side of that, I also don't believe that just because you want to make a video game that you should necessarily get the support, because if you want to make something good, go ahead, make it, but that's on you. That's your choice. It's not anyone else's job to validate your choice and to make a video game. It's your job, if you want to make a video game, to make it good, to make people want to play it. Yeah, so I think that was just funny for me, because I honestly couldn't give a shit about Highguard. It's not a game that I would play. It's not something that interests me. It was just something that, after all the stink it kicked up after the Game Awards last year, I kind of was like, be interesting to see what happens with that. And honestly, I wasn't surprised. It was exactly what I would expect from that kind of thing. We had people defending it who, honestly, yeah. Honestly, they the people defending it, I remember reading something from, I can't remember who, but they put up a they put up a thing, and they were like, yeah, I liked Avowed and I like this guy, and I looked at the games that they were saying that they had written positive stuff about, and I was like, and that's, yeah, no one trusts you. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I think Avowed is a terrible game. I just think that it's a terrible... Well, actually, sorry, I do think it's a terrible game. But I think it's a terrible game not because of what it stood for, but mainly because of how it acted. It didn't... It failed at things that games that are, 10, 15 years old managed to get right. And it couldn't do that. And you're like, what? You want us to congratulate you on putting out something that doesn't even hold muster to stuff that came out 10 years ago? You want to clap on the back for that? And they're going, yes, we deserve it because we put something out. And you're like, it's not how the world works. And I feel like Highguard was sort of the same for me. Like, not only was it something that I didn't want, it was something that I had really no interest in. And from what I've seen about it, I haven't played it, I'll be honest, but from what I've seen about it, it also wasn't executed greatly. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, it's currently got like, sorry, it's currently lost something like 90% of its player base in the very, very short time that it's been out. So it'll be interesting to see whether it lasts long enough to hold on to who currently still remains with it. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is another kind of dead on arrival game, and honestly, we don't see much more about it. It is always sad when that happens in video games, because it does kind of reinforce the fact that, oh, don't make new stuff because people don't want new things. But I think at the same time, this wasn't new. There was nothing new about this. It was a very derivative game. And any kind of innovations it did make weren't good innovations. They were just kind of like, change this enough that it's slightly distinct from insert other game title here, you know. So it seems like, you know, the video game industry is stagnating, and, you know, the only thing that's working is stuff that's got a big history or an already built fan base, and that trying new things isn't worth your time because it won't work. But the reality is, if you're going to try something new, you've got to have a passion for it, and it actually has to be new. You can't be chasing the trend. And in video games, it's like, if you start making a game to hit the trend that you see now, by the time your game's out, that's going to be over. So you should always be trying to innovate and make something new, and more importantly, make something that you want to play, because that's, if you make something that you'd want to play, there's chances that other people want to play it too. But I don't know, that's just my opinion on the whole thing. I'll keep my eyes on Highguard from a purely interested in how it plays out over the next couple of months. But I just think it's funny that it's come out and no one really cared at all. But yeah, guys, that just about does it from me. Thank you for joining me if you have. Again, sorry that this is not an actual podcast where me and Kris talk rubbish, but hey, who knows? If you want to see more from me and Kris, check out the rest of the channel. We play video games averagely. That's our skill level. That's what we do. We also have the podcast where we get together and just chat about things that interest us, or maybe things that slightly annoy us, or really anything in between that. But guys, that's all from me. Thank you for joining me. I've been Darcy, and I will catch you next time right here on the channel. But until then, see you later. Double finger guns for all you guys out there.